runs by guys like Kyle Soper. Obviously, the last time the Modified Tour was here, Kyle Soper won the event. It was one of the better, more patient races I have ever seen anybody run in this facility, and Soper did a great job to come back to the lead and win the event. John Beatty Jr. in car number 5 has also come right here at the start-finish line, had Justin Bonsignore backwards across the start-finish line as they finished a race 2-3 years ago here. So these Riverhead regulars, they got a chance, especially now with a pit stop where they might not wear their stuff out, and they'll have something at the end of the race.
Yeah, and you can be a little bit more aggressive because you've got that pit stop. You can come in and get what is 2 tires. Now you've got 2 pit roads, but it'll function like 1 pit road, very similar to how they race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Teams will enter pit road at the bottom of turn 2. They'll loop all the way around through turns 3 and 4, down the front straightaway, and then out of turn 1. That is pit out. It'll be 25 miles per hour on pit road. You can take 2 tires throughout the event, and there's going to be a whole lot of excitement as the drama unfolds here before us this evening.
You may see drivers just pit early on for adjustment, just to adjust the car. Where in the past, you would have to go into the pits, into the hot pit area, and it would take so much time, you'd probably lose a lap almost every single time. So drivers and teams would not do it. Well, tonight, let's see what happens here.
Field has begun to roll from the grid here along the front straightaway as they take shape onto the back stretch. Temporary retaining walls set up for both the pit crews on pit road and on the inside lane of the racetrack. And the field paced by that number 5 machine with so much history here in the Partridge family.
The Wilsberg number 5, driven by Charlie Drzumbeck. That is fortunately his untimely death, but Eddie Partridge was part of that team. And Eddie Partridge had one of the Wilsberg cars. It sat in his shop for years under a cover. He wouldn't touch it. He got together with Jimmy Blewett, and they did this car over. And what a job they did. It is beautiful, and it's fast. We had a Legends race here, not a Legends race, but a vintage race here last week, and that car won from the back, running 11.7s. I mean, it was flying with Kyle Owen behind the wheel.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup again here for the Eddie Partridge 256 tonight. Earning his 23rd career Mayhew Tools pole, Justin Bonsignore out in front. He's an 8-time Riverhead Raceway winner. Patrick Emmerling, he's the defending race winner. He'll start on the outside of the front row. Kyle Soper, he won the race here in June. He'll start from 5th. And Ronnie Silk, who's in the championship battle, currently sitting 2nd in the standings. He'll roll from the 8th position. Back in 11th, Craig Lutz, he won at Thompson earlier this season. Donnie Leah in the field again, a 4-time Riverhead Raceway winner. He'll start 15th alongside local driver Roger Turbish with the 88. Austin Beers, the rookie contender, will start 20th here this evening. You go back to the back half of the field. Eddie Brunholzel is in the field along with Dave Zapienza, Gary McDonald, Melissa Fifield, and Walt Sutcliffe rounding out the starting lineup for tonight's event. Take a quick look at the race analysis. 256 laps. It'll be a 64-mile event. Teams can change 2 tires, and the pit road speed here tonight will be 25 miles per hour throughout the duration of the event.
Should be interesting. I'd like to see what happens in the first 50 laps. I think they're all going to take pace here. They're going to settle in. And you might see there are some faster cars that did not have good qualifying efforts that you're going to see try to get through the field early here.
Pit road selection was decided based on practice speed. So the top 4 drivers, and they were Justin Bonsignore, the 7 car of Doug Coby, Kyle Soper. They had preferred position, and Timmy Salavito also got a great pit selection, and that will give them the entrance or exit of pit lane. Those were the preferred spots coming in. We'll see if that comes into a strategy play as the night goes on when we get into those pit stops. Justin Bonsignore is on the pole, and he had a focus and a fire in his eyes today that I haven't seen out of Justin Bonsignore in a while, because based off of his win the last time we were in Oswego, he's a driver that's got momentum on his side, and the championship is now within striking distance as he comes to one of his favorite racetracks on the tour as an 8-time Raceway winner here at Riverhead.
And Justin did state in an interview after a victory that all they were doing was trying to win races, and he was going to let the points fall where they may. And here they are. The last 5 or 6 races, they've been right in the top 3 every single race. Now he's 15 points out of the point lead.
He's in the mix. And he'll be on the front row. But you can't count out the driver that starts 5th here tonight. And that's Kyle Soper, a brand new race car. He stunned them all, and back here in June became the first local driver since 1995 to win here at the Riverhead Raceway and Whelen Modified Tour competition. He leads the track standings. He's a 3-time Riverhead Raceway track champion, and that car looked awful fast here earlier today.
It'll be exciting to watch a lot of these competitors, Kyle Soper especially, to see if he can do what he did the last time the Modified Tour was in town.
Getting ready to get under the green flag. The Eddie Partridge 256 here tonight for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Pace truck will head for cover. Justin Bonsignor on the inside lane is a pole sitter, along with Patrick Emmerling as the green flag is displayed, and we're underway in turn 10. Bonsignor noses out in front as they head into turn number 3. He'll take over the top spot. Now Doug Covey looking inside for second underneath Patrick Emmerling.
Covey immediately to the bottom, trying to come to the second spot, but Emmerling with a good run down the back straightaway will slide into the second position.
Emmerling's been good here the last 4 races. He's won and finished no worse than second in all of them.
And 2 of them he came from the back of the bus, started in the rear of the event and made his way to the front. Now he doesn't have to beat his car up coming through the field, he just has to pace himself for this event.
Eric Goodale on the 58, battling with the championship point leader John McKennedy in the 79. Unlike some of the drivers in the field, McKennedy does not have as many races here, and he's battling with Ronnie Silk now to his inside for the championship and for the 5th spot on track.
But it was this racetrack that John McKennedy was noticed by Tommy Baldwin Jr. in another race where he was a lap down, came back and unlapped himself. And Tommy Baldwin Jr. went over and spoke to him, and they started running together in that 7 and 1.
That's where he got his first Modified Tour win back at Myrtle Beach, driving for Tommy Baldwin.
Soper right now on the bottom, underneath McKennedy, car number 79.
And Soper's a long-run driver. He knows he's got a long way to go here. And this is a racetrack that, when you run weekly here at this track, you know what the groove is going to do. You know how it's going to change when you, from the bottom to the middle to the top lane. And that's one thing that Kyle Soper and the local drivers here in this race have as an advantage over the Whelen Modified Tour regulars.
And Soper now picks up that spot over John McKennedy.
Soper, who started 5th, fell back a little bit, now runs in the 6th position, deeper in the field. Timmy Salamito in the 66. He's a driver that's got a lot of talent here, not only behind the steering wheel, he's won a couple of races in Whelen Modified Tour competition, but is also quite the mechanic and is somebody who drivers and crew chiefs will look to get the best setup for their race car. He's now in the 10th spot in that blue family-owned number 66.
At the age of 8, Timmy Salamito was here running go-karts. He knows every bump, every inch of this facility. And he's one of the legend cars, Charger cars, and modifieds here at Riverhead Raceway.
Yeah, that experience pays off huge, big dividends for him. Up front, Justin Bonsignor has got some pressure from behind in the form of Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling, who just ran the NASCAR Xfinity Series race 1 day ago, flew here this morning to have the opportunity to race here at Riverhead Raceway and contest this race here tonight.
And with Emmerling, when he first came here with Jan Leedy, he was awful. Then he took a practice off and just watched. The next time they came here and the rest of that other race, he started getting better.
Caution flag is out. We've got trouble in turn 2. 2 cars have come together. Ken Hagee is in it, and Ed Brunholzel III also involved. Both cars able to clear and move on. We are 16 laps in, and Donnie Leah also involved midway down the back straightaway.
Did not see how that one happened. Leah trying to get his car righted. There's a problem with the steering in that car.
Yeah, Leah's steering that car back and forth. The wheel's not following what he's doing with his hands inside the steering wheel. And Donnie Leah driving Old Blue already, taking the gloves off with his race car as it sits up against the inside backstretch wall. Not something we say here often at Riverhead. As he's got the Jersey barrier in that number 3 car, and he is disconnecting the Hans device, and that is not the start that Donnie Leah was hoping for here 16 laps into this one.
No, and Leah was good in practice. Not the fastest car, but very consistent with all of his laps. And he went out. Well, the first time he went out, he didn't even have stickers on. So I think they had something for them at the end of this event. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see it for car number 3.
Leah got a little taste of getting back into modified competition here this year. Came back part-time after taking a few seasons away, a 2-time champion of the series. And said, you know, if I've got the opportunity to go full-time racing again, I wouldn't mind that. He says racing every week, the rhythm of it is good, and he's enjoyed the opportunity to go racing. But tonight, I'm sure he's not enjoying this right now as he gets ready to unbuckle from that race car.
And think of Donnie Leah. He's been in some iconic race cars. This 3-car, Bob Garbarino's 4-car, and Tommy Baldwin Jr.'s 7NY car. And his own car, his own stuff that they did when he was a rookie. They ran awful well. They won the North-South Shootout. But he has had a great career. Just unfortunate here today as he will exit the raceway on the Burgandy Brothers automotive record.
With infield pitting, they do have the opportunity to bring that car down to the pit stall of the crew. Now, if they've got to tow a vehicle outside of the racetrack, then that car is done for the event. So if there's any work that they can do on that car, they'll bring it down pit road. But unlike traditional races that we've had here at Riverhead, when you can go out of the gate in turn 3, which is now closed under caution, get your repairs in the back, and then come back out onto turn 4, that rule's not in effect tonight. If you go over that rule, if you go outside of the racetrack, your night is done, and you can start loading up your trailer because that's it for you.
And how many? I believe they allowed 6 crew members each, right, on the infield.
Enough to be able to go change tires tonight. No fuel on pit road.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's early. Nobody has pitted yet. Obviously, 20 laps into the event. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Tommy Catalano.
Tommy Catalano on pit road.
And this is what you mentioned earlier, Steve. The opportunity to come down pit road, make some adjustments to the steering, also checking to make sure that the right rear tire is still up. So they made a quick adjustment on the suspension on both the left and right front. And you can see where Tommy Catalano curved along the inside of turns 3 and 4, and then we'll come down pit road here along the front and rejoin at the exit of turn 1, and he will get stopped here at the end of pit road while the field passes by. Catalano nearly won the race in Richmond earlier this season. Led in the late going. Justin Bonsignor was able to get the job done. Has really had a banner season. I think as we get with 3 races left to go, this team certainly had an eye on being right in the mix in the championship to the end. But when you look at the statistics that they've had, it's been his best career season, most consistent season in the Whelen Modified Tour across many, many different racetracks. And for the team out of Western New York, the family team, they continue to impress, and they're not afraid to try different strategies. And I think that's been one of their key to the successes that they've had, including coming down early and being one of the first drivers to test this new pit road.
And again, you know, all they're doing right now is their car's not right early. So let's make a small adjustment. Let's see what's happening. And then they have an opportunity to do it again and again and again just to get the car to where he's comfortable. You haven't had that opportunity in the past year without losing a lap. So good so far. Our first pit stop, at least. Everything went smooth for Catalano.
Now they've pulled the Donnie Leah number 3 onto the back straightaway, and they'll drop him off in his pit stall to allow that team to see if they can get any work done on that machine. And they'll get the wrecker moved out of there before we go back under the green flag. So up front is Justin Bonsignor, and alluded to it a few moments ago that Justin has an energy about him with a big bounce in his step, yet extremely focused on the race here tonight. He knows the opportunity for him to go after the championship is right in front of him, but he's got to work for it and be aggressive. And so it would not surprise me or anybody else to see Justin Bonsignor, the Ryan Stone-led team, to be very aggressive at maintaining track position here tonight. We're set for the restart. There'll be 26 laps when they come across the line to get the green flag, and we are back underway in the Eddie Partridge 256. Justin Bonsignor back out to the race lead. Patrick Emmerling, though, a good run off turn number 2. He'll challenge to the outside in turn 3.
Good job by Emmerling in car number 07 to get the run to the outside of Justin Bonsignor. Emmerling Still gets a good run, but Bonsignor is able to pull ahead, and Emmerling slides in behind it.
Doug Covey is right there, the May winner, and here comes Ron Silk. Phil Moran and Ron Silk not happy with that number 16 car earlier today as he works into the 4th position right behind Covey. They were tight in practice, tight in qualifying, but the nighttime setup that he's got looks pretty good. Remember, they could not make any adjustments in impound race. So this is the car that they qualified with, but it has come to life here now that the sun has gone down and the lights are out.
Ron Silk has had some great races here. Just needs to finish the deal here tonight. That's what he said. His biggest problem last time he was here, he just can't finish the race. In that saying, just at the end, some of these guys are just better than they are at the end of the race.
Kyle Soper is one of them, and one thing that's helping him at the end of the race is the fact that he's starting up front near the top 10.
Yeah, Soper has to do far less work than he has done the last few years here for modified tour competition, as right now he runs side by side with Eric Goodell. And Goodell hanging it up on the outside. They're doing a nice job. Timmy Solomito now has joined this group in a battle for the 6th spot.
Solomito started 9th. He backpedaled a little bit under that first green flag run, and now he's moving in, challenging for the 6th spot underneath Eric Goodale, but lost the nose in the middle of the back straightaway. Had to gather it back in. Still finds room to the inside off turn 4.
Early on here, not a lot of drive on the bottom of the raceway for trying to make a pass. If you're leading the group like Bonsignor is, he's got good drive off on the bottom right now. But if you try to pass somebody down low, doesn't seem to be the place just yet. A lot of these cars making their moves up on the outside of the raceway.
The rubber that these Whelen modified tour cars run a little bit different than some of the weekly competitors, so they just about got that cleared off. So in 256 laps, you'll see that change as the race goes on.
And you'll end up with
trouble turn 2. A couple of cars involved. JB Fortin nearly went around. Chris Turbish went up to the outside wall. Everybody's able to get away. We stay under the green flag, but we nearly had 3 cars wadded up off turn 2.
Great job by everybody involved there.
Bonsignor back across the line, now putting 39, coming to 40 laps into the record books here tonight, as he has been able to keep Patrick Emmerling at bay. They'll work around the outside of Melissa Fifield in the 0-1 out of Wakefield, New Hampshire. She goes a lap down. The race leader, single file, running the top lane.
And as we were saying, these 2 groups will come in as the race goes on. And all of a sudden, you'll have a car that's able to pass on the bottom at will, and you'll have another car that can't pass on the bottom but can only run on the top. So it's going to happen, and should happen around lap 100. They'll start moving all over the place. But this should be a good one. Right now, they pretty much strung themselves out as the 82 car. Craig Lutz looks to the inside of car number 22, Kyle Bonsignor.
Take a look at the 2nd place machine of Patrick Emmerling. The panel in the back of the machine has got damage on it. He got hit by somebody here not too long ago. Doug Covey is right in there, but you can see that rear panel on the race car wanting to push upward right where it meets the quarter panel.
Hasn't hurt the performance of the 07 thus far, as it shouldn't. Just looks like sheet metal damage right now.
And if you don't walk out of a short track race with a little bit of sheet metal damage, you probably didn't do it right. Although in modified competition, it's a little bit harder to get to that sheet metal than it would be for a full fendered car. Did get a report down from pit road that the steering rack did indeed fail for Donnie Leah and that team, as we suspected based on watching him off turn number 2 trying to steer that car with no direction.
Bonsignor starting to put some space between he and Emmerling as they approach some lap traffic right now. The 27 car of Gary McDonald, 78 of Walter Sutcliffe, and the 01 of Melissa Fifield.
Yeah, McDonald in the 27 here tonight because he opened up a 2nd car like he did here in June for Eddie Brunholzel the 3rd to be able to run the normal 26 that he had. So another one of the local favorites in the field tonight, as they continue to work the lap traffic here on the back straightaway. Everybody riding here a little bit. And we talked that 200 laps is a normal distance when the Whelen Modified Tour comes to town versus a 256. you would think that maybe you'd be a little bit more aggressive knowing that you've got 2 tires to change. But tonight, it seems like everybody, for the moment, letting the race come to them, letting it play out to see where the strategy is going to be when it comes to that pit stop.
But it almost makes you think that they're going, I don't want to say easy because they're not going easy, but being as conservative as they are right now, perhaps they're all going to wait till the end to pit.
You look at the lap times, we're in the 12-second range. We qualified today in the 11.6 range. That's what it took to win. So Justin Bonsignore is indeed pacing the field over Patrick Emerling. You got Doug Coby in the mix, Ronnie Silk, Kyle Soper is there.
Eric Goodale, car number 58, having a great run as well as he runs 6th.
And there's a guy who said after practice, you know, I'm not really sure what we have tonight. You know, he's won here before. He knows how to get it done here at this racetrack. Another local driver that now runs primarily on the Whelen Modified Tour. But Eric Goodale wasn't all that confident today, but it seems though that's been the pattern for them this season. They would not be confident in practice, but by the time it's time to go to the race, Jason Shepard, the crew chief, they would have the magic and they'd be in the mix.
Yeah, they've been good all year. Good move there by Craig Lutz in car number 82 as he went by Timmy Solomito on the inside, and now he tries to make his way to the 58 car of Eric Goodale.
And things are starting to turn around for Craig Lutz. Won the race at Thompson, and Craig is one of those Long Island guys who I can't say has had a lot of success here.
Craig never really ran here. He always ran at Waterford. He went from, his dad won a championship here in a Charger car and a late model, I believe. And then they went to Waterford to run SK Modifieds. He used to run go-karts here. Another guy ran for 5 or 6 years. But Craig Lutz, he does an excellent job when he comes to this facility.
Yeah, and Whelen Modified Tour races hasn't necessarily been his luck when it comes to this 82 car, but it looks good tonight. Running in 7th here in the early stages, and so it might be an opportunity for him to start turning that luck back around and getting back on top of the game here when it comes to racing at Riverhead.
I see his car owner quite a bit, Danny Watts Jr., and he is so happy with this combination. He says he hasn't had this much fun racing since he was racing with Ted Christopher.
And that says something. Here's Eric Goodale now, seeing if he can find a racing line to the inside of Kyle Soper, the battle for the 5th spot. Goodale's car starting to come to life here as we go deeper into this run, 65 laps into tonight's event.
And Goodale could have that car. That's what I was saying earlier. As the race comes in, the bottom will start working for some cars. And Goodale just made a great move to get by Kyle Soper in car number 15.
And he's using the inside lane below the white line at the bottom of the racetrack to help get that car to turn. And that's how he was able to get the job done there over Kyle Soper. And Soper now will drop down and follow that same path around. Craig Lutz in the mix. Timmy Solomito in tow. 5th through 8th on your screen.
All, as you said, they've all pretty much settled in here and they're pacing themselves. Nice pace to this event right now. Next time by, we'll be at lap 70 already.
And this is a very physical race. You're constantly turning. Lap traffic, always a factor. It's tough physically and it's tough mentally for this quarter-mile bull ring.
And your lift points have to be almost exact every single lap. Because if you lift too late, you're gonna put it up through the fence almost. So you have to concentrate on hitting your marks and hitting your lift points. And a guy like Bonsignore right now looks like he's perfect.
Trouble on the back straightaway. Gary McDonald has spun and the caution flag is out for the 2nd time tonight. McDonald tried to loop it before the back of the field came back on through, and he didn't have enough room, so he will back it up and get it rolling again. So the caution is out. Lap 72 for the 2nd time tonight for Gary McDonald, while Justin Bonsignore leads at Riverhead.
Be interesting to see if anyone heads to pit road. It'll be about 75 laps into it when we get pit road open. And I don't know, maybe some of these cars from 10th on back might make an adjustment here or there. Be very interesting to see.
It'll be interesting because a lot of what the team said is that we just want to be out of sequence from everybody else. So many times you go to tracks where caution comes out midway through the race, everybody's coming down pit road, so you don't lose that track position. You don't get out of sync with the rest of the leaders. Here, they want to have a little bit of breathing room. They want to be off cycle, so it wouldn't surprise me to see a handful of cars come down pit road and see if they can get some tires, make some adjustments, do what they need to do, and play a strategy play here in the early stages of the race. We've got a couple of teams that have got crew members up on pit road, jacks in hand. Is this an opportunity, and what do they do? One tire, no tires? We'll find out once pit road is open.
Quite a few crew members up on the wall, as Joe said. It's going to be real interesting to see what they do.
Remember, pit entrance is to the inside of turn 2. They'll navigate down the back straightaway, keep it on the inside of the yellow line through turns 3 and 4. And if they're going to pit, they will release them in turn 4, and then they can come down pit road. Cars stacked up on the bottom. We'll give you the indication here. There's the pit road across the infield that was set up here a handful of days before this race began. Crews came in to get this all built, lined, and marked, and this racetrack looks beautiful and laid out perfectly for this very impressive pit road here built along the infield of this Riverhead Raceway.
Right now, Catalano to the pits, Sutcliffe to the pits, and Sapienza all to the pits.
So they all bypass the pace vehicle and head down the backstretch pit road. And that's where they will get their service. Tommy Catalano in for a second time. They'll come back around and see if they can make some more adjustments on the front. Also continuing to look at that right rear tire for Tommy Catalano to see how it's wearing, what the temperature looks like on it. But more suspension adjustments there on the left front. Walt Sutcliffe also in on pit road making a chassis adjustment to the number 78 machine.
Sapienza, from our angle, looks like they just made an adjustment as well.
And he will be the first car off of pit road. Dave Sapienza trying to turn his luck around here at this racetrack. Had a tough go in qualifying today. Started toward the tail of the field back in the 22nd position. Not able to get the lap that he had hoped to get. And he's looking to try to race his way back up through the field once he gets back out on track. The 36 for Sapienza. We will refresh once the scoring loop comes back around and they rejoin at the tail end of the field. So second caution of the night, 78 laps in to the Eddie Partridge 256. It's been Justin Bonsignor the entire way. Patrick Emmerling has been in the mix along with Doug Kobe and Ron Silk, who's patiently been riding in fourth. And I'm not so sure that we've seen the best of Ronnie Silk yet tonight.
I think Ronnie made a couple of moves early on to get to where he is, and then he kind of settled in behind Doug Kobe. Right now, they are very conservative, these teams, I think. And I think that's going to bode well for us for a great second half of this event.
Remember, last season, 2 of the 3 races at this racetrack were won by Doug Kobe. His crew chief was Phil Moran, who works with Ronnie Silk. So Phil all of a sudden has hit on something in this racetrack, and that setup is what he's taken over to that 16 team. Lights are out on the pace vehicle. We're ready to get back underway here in the Eddie Partridge 256. Justin Bonsignor has led the entire way. He's on the front row alongside Patrick Emmerling as we get the green flag from the flag stand. Back into turn number 1, Bonsignor with that preferred bottom lane of the racetrack. Emmerling again tries to work the outside lane as they head down into 3.
Here comes Doug Kobe in car number 7 to the inside of Emmerling, but Emmerling doing a great job up on the outside of the raceway. Here comes Kobe in the 7NY.
Kobe trying to pick up spots here on the restart. Working the bottom lane of the racetrack. They're dead even across as they come across the line. Kobe in the black 70 York 07 outside lane. That belongs to Patrick Emmerling.
Patrick Emmerling with a great run on the top side of the raceway. Looks to come back to position number 2, and he will. But Kobe's still there. Emmerling's got that big run on the top, big drive for car number 07 as he comes back to the 2nd spot.
That outside line looking very good for Patrick Emmerling. Kobe back to 3rd, Eric Goodale. He is challenging now underneath Ronnie Silk. This is the battle for 4th. Right behind them, Craig Lutz working his way through.
And And you can see now a couple of the cars able to make moves on the bottom.
Trouble on the front straightaway. Dylan Slepian and the 34 of J.B. Fortin both involved. Slepian was the first machine up into the outside wall where sparks were flying when the right front made contact. And then Fortin came in, slid sideways, and they both made contact. Right front badly damaged for the 70 of Dylan Slepian, one of the local Riverhead Raceway favorites. And the left rear tire is off, the Johns tree removal number 34 for J.B. Fortin.
Yeah, they went in awful hard here on the front straightaway. We've stopped the cars because of the blockage into turn number 1. Unfortunate for both drivers who have played in the finish here in the top 10 the last 2 or 3 times the tour has been in town. So unfortunate for this right now. Hoping to get a look and see what actually happened here, but heavy contact.
So the 2 cars sitting here along the front straightaway. Of course, J.B. Fortin in the 34 machine. His dad, a multi-time track champion here at this racetrack, defending winner of the premier event that happens here every November, the Islip 300, is J.B. Fortin. And his luck this season in the Whelen Modified Tour has really been non-existent. And he walks into the infield clearly dejected after another tough night in this series.
I mean, he started the year with 2 great finishes, and all he was trying to do was finish races. And now, unfortunately, as you've said, the luck bug has just bit him. He just has no luck. And it's unfortunate. And, you know, they work hard. This is a hard-working team, a hard-working family, a great group of people that work with car number 34. And it's just sad to see it end like this tonight. But he'll be back here for the Islip 300.
Ryan Stone, crew chief for Justin Bonsignor, offering some words of wisdom to J.B. Fortin as he walked down along pit lane. A sign of sportsmanship down there. And you can see J.B. just dejected. He wanted to perform here tonight. His home track, hometown crowd, one of the tracks that he knew he had a lot of success at, could turn his season around, but this here has been really the picture for this team, and it's been unfortunate because, as you said, Steve, they have been fast early in the season. Really thought that this was going to be one of the teams that was going to kick things off and really shake things up in modified racing as a new team coming touring full-time. And this team's fighting, and they'll be back. They're all fighters. He told me that earlier today. He said, doesn't matter, we're going to keep going, and eventually our luck is going to turn around.
Yeah, and I think he was just a victim in that one. I think he was behind it, and he had nowhere to go but into it. So, again, unfortunate for J.B. Fortin and this entire John's Fuel Oil number 34 team. But as I said, at one of the most impressive runs I've ever seen at this facility or any other one was J.B. Fortin's run of the Islip 300 last year. And I know he'll be back for that, and I can't wait to see him perform in that one.
And we really shouldn't count out the 70 for Dylan Slepian as well. He's run 5 starts here with the Whelen Modified Tour. Obviously one of the talented drivers that races here on a weekly basis. But, you know, he's only finished outside the top 10 once. Tonight is going to be the second time with that incident, but he's had some really strong runs here at this racetrack.
Yeah, Dylan is 14 points out of the point lead right now. And the guy he's chasing is Kyle Soper. And he and his car owner, Rob Pelis, they have had a tremendous year. They've had multiple tremendous years. These guys work, that's a home-built chassis, the number 70, and they do an amazing job with that car. This, what you see, that car on the record, you rarely ever see that. Dylan Slepian, one of the better, conservative when he needs to be, real fast when he's got to win a race. He won here a couple of weeks ago. Just unfortunate to see that car like that as well. And you never see it like that. He's always up in the top 3, top 5, and then he proves it when the Modified Tour comes to town, and he finishes consistently in the top 10. Just not a good sight for those guys today, and very unfortunate.
And modified racing, we always talk on the Whelen Modified Tour about the 3-car, Old Blue, with their homemade chassis. And they're not that group that's going to go to the store and buy a Fury, an LFR, a Troyer, whatever the case may be. And that's what you see here with the 70 here that races weekly at the Riverhead Raceway.
Yes, he has that car. He also has the number 10. That's their other car. Dylan started the season in the 10 car. And Mike Christopher Jr. came here one night and ran the 70 car. Came from the back to 4th. And Mike's barely been here. And they found something that night when he was driving that car, and they put Dylan in that car. And I don't believe he's been out of the top 5 since. He was able to chase down Soper in the championship, but we only have 1 week left. Soper looks like he's on his way to win another championship here. But just Slepian, that whole team, all those guys, that crew right there. A gentleman who ran in the street stocks earlier today found out yesterday when he was putting his car, doing all his setup, that his rear end was bent. He called one guy, Rob Pelis. Those guys came to his house with 6, 7 guys to fix and finish his car to get him here today. That's the kind of guy the car owner on number 70 is.
Yeah, that's a family that you've got here at Riverhead Raceway. And there's Dylan Slepian taking the helmet off down to the infield here along the front straightaway on the front stretch pit road. But certainly a tough end to his night as he got into the outside wall here along the front straightaway. And that'll bring us under the 3rd caution and first red flag of the night tonight. And as luck would have it, both those cars are pitted right in front of each other down on the pit lane here along the front stretch. So they can discuss what happened out on track. A moment ago, we were just looking at Kyle Soper, who you talked about in the midst of winning another championship here at Riverhead Raceway. That's a brand new race car that they brought here. They've tested it over the last month or so on Saturday evenings, only about 15 laps or so a session, just to shake it down, make sure it was good for a race like tonight. They didn't want to take the car that they raced and won with in June and disturb that championship battle. They said, we're going for another championship. We'll put this other car in play to be able to race with the Whelen Modified Tour.
And what a great job they did as he sits here right now in the top 10, and I don't think he's even flexed his muscles yet. I mean, if going by the last race when the Tour was here, Kyle Soper, he loves running up front with these guys.
He said after that race, he said, you know, there were times when not everybody, you think about the people that reach out to him, you know, the different drivers on the Tour, his owners, sponsors, competitors out on track. He said, but the one that meant the most to me was when a fan came up to me and said, you know, not everybody is a Kyle fan. But tonight we were, because you made Riverhead Raceway proud, racing with the touring series, the Whelen Modified Tour, and the local favorite getting the job done.
And there's been a bunch of times where he's come from the back to finish 3rd and just ran out a race car. As we said in the last broadcast, when they were here, he started in the top 5, and he was able to just conserve his car. Guys would come behind him. He'd just get out of the way and let him go. And then 20 laps later, he'd blow by him.
Yeah.
So he just has so many. He's a smart, consistent race car driver, and he hits his marks, and his lap times are so consistent, and it's just great to see and remember, his car owner, a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion himself, in Wayne Anderson.
Yeah, he was indeed. Anderson won the championship back in 1994 and is a longtime racer here at this racetrack.
He won 5 championships here himself. Then he's won 5 more as an owner, I believe.
Great crowd on hand here tonight, circulated all around this racetrack, located on the tip of Long Island, New York, the Riverhead Raceway. The tradition of modified tour competition. For many years, you saw a lot of the talent coming out of Connecticut, Rhode Island, up into Massachusetts. But it seems more and more and more that the driving talent of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour is coming from this area, from this racetrack.
Yes, so many cars have ties to Long Island, as Justin Bonsignor, car number 51. The 7NY, Tommy Baldwin Jr. is born here on Long Island. The 58, Eric Goodale. They have a family business here in Riverhead. Kyle Soper, obviously. Craig Lutz in the 82, his car owner, Danny Watts, literally lives 6 miles from here. Timmy Salamito, also Long Island based. The 22 car, Kyle Bonsignor, started his career here in go-karts before moving down south. So many different ties to Long Island. J.B. Fortin, you know, his dad, John Fortin. Also, Donnie Leah. A lot of Long Island involved in the modified tour right now.
So we're back under the caution flag, and that opportunity there is with the cars that were on pit road and involved in the incident. They have pulled them off the racetrack to not only clear pit road, but also to be able to allow to do that work under the red flag. So now that we go back under green flag competition, that when we go back into the green flag competition, there's fewer cars down on pit road, and we get more green flag laps in tonight's race. Now, on pit road, here's the story. Pit road is being shown as closed, but Kyle Soper in the 15 car is on pit road. And they are looking at the rear of this machine, jacking it up, and it appears as though they're trying to spin the rear end on that car. So problems for the 15 of Kyle Soper, who looked so good on track, comes down pit road while pit road is closed, jacked up, and here comes the pace vehicle around the outside as the 15 sits paused on pit road. He drops the hammer and it takes off just fine, but he will not make it off pit road in time.
I wonder what he felt. He must have felt something when he got going, or heard something, because the car has been real good. Catalano, Sutcliffe again to pit road, Sapienza. Also, another guy with Long Island ties, he and Ken Hagee, Gary McDonald. A lot of teams on the tour with Long Island ties.
And he is going to go ahead and join at the tail end of the field. And as we look at the scoring here at the moment, Kyle Soper is going to be shown 1 lap down. Lengthy stop for Soper, as they really just looked at the race car. They didn't really do anything. Had it jacked up, working and investigating in the rear end, but he will now drop to the tail end of the field.
They did try spinning the wheel, then they started to pull on it. And then they dropped him, and when he took off, it looked fine. We're going to see how fine it is, actually, as he's going to have to now work his way from the back. And he's 1 lap down.
So pit road has since been opened. A couple of cars came down pit road. Right now, Melissa Fifefield's on pit road, but Dave Sapienza, Tommy Catalano, and Walt Sutcliffe all came down pit road for more service on their machines. We're getting set to get back under the green flag. 90 laps complete. They'll see 91 when they get the green flag. Justin Bonsignor and Patrick Emmerling here on the front row. They'll see 91 laps to go, or 91 laps into the event tonight when the green flag comes out, and Bonsignor is off and running again on the bottom. Very efficient on the start, but here comes Emmerling. Good, strong run, puts a nose out in front in turn 3.
The 51 car went in and up the hill going into turn number 1. It opened the door for Kobe to get underneath them, but it also helped the 07 of Patrick Emmerling get a run to the top of the raceway, and here comes Emmerling to the lead.
Emmerling launches off turn 2, and that propels him to the top spot. And for the first time today, Justin Bonsignor falls back into second. Now he's challenged. To the outside, it's the 16 of Ronnie Silk.
Silk working the outside groove. He's done that this entire event. But Bonsignor now back down to the bottom underneath Emmerling.
Bonsignor, we thought he might be aggressive, wanted to control the race here tonight, and he is going at it once again as he looks down to the bottom. Across the line they go and into turn 1, and Bonsignor is going to use him up a little bit. Lap traffic ahead in the form of Melissa Fifield as the race leaders run side by side to the line.
Bonsignor, what a charge back to the front.
Caution is out. Down. Matt Brody has spun off turn 4 along with Eddie Brunhosel III. He was able to get that car moving again. Brody's car still paused just at the entrance of the pit road off turn 4.
Brody trying to get out from there
as he waits for the field to pass by.
And I wonder, Kyle Soper gets his lap back here.
See how they line up. Soper is 1 lap down, and we'll see if he is awarded the free pass and the beneficiary to come back around. The Justin Bonsignor is being shown the race leader, Patrick Emmerling, in second. That launch that Emmerling got off turn 2 on that restart, though, was phenomenal. But the aggressive style of Bonsignor tells you how important leading this race and track position is.
Well, what really helped Emmerling on the outside of the raceway at that point was Doug Kobe. The 51 drifted up and it left the bottom open for Kobe. That disrupted Bonsignor's run off the bottom out of turn 2 and let Emmerling drive up on the top of the raceway and come by him. But Bonsignor decided he wasn't going to let that stick. He got back down to the bottom.
Kyle Soper will be the beneficiary of the free pass. So he will get his opportunity to get the lap back. But he's got a long way to go because he is shown deep in the field. Back in 21st. So Soper, whatever the problem he had, didn't seem to impact him when we went back under the green flag. Tommy Catalano with pit road open is going to come back in for more service. Ken Hagee on pit road as well with the number 18 machine. And you had alluded to Doug Kobe a second ago. He went from 3rd to 5th on that start with both Ronnie Silk and Craig Lutz sneaking on by.
When the 51 got back underneath the 07, the 16 came on the outside with the 82, and they got Kobe. As Kobe was concentrating on the 51 car, they went right by the outside of him. And then Kobe seemed to settle back in and stick with those guys. Right now, Justin Bonsignor did a nice job to get back to the top spot.
So it seems as though 101 laps in that the strategy of taking tires early is pretty well out the window.
Yeah, that strategy's gone.
We're not too far from the halfway point. So that leaves only two. Well, there's more than two. There's always more than two, but two main ones. Stay out and go the whole way. Got plenty of fuel. That's not a problem. Or do you come in late and get tires?
I think it all depends on what the leader does. Whoever's leading at the time, I mean, that's where it's going to... If the leader comes, do they all come? Or if the leader comes, do they all stay out?
The number of cars on the lead lap may also play into that decision making. We get set to go back under the green flag. They'll put 103 laps up on the scoreboard of the Eddie Partridge 256. Green flag is out, and Justin Bonsignor said, Patrick Emmerling, you are not going to pull to my outside this time. He launches off turn 2, clears the 07, but now Ronnie Silk dives to the bottom looking for second.
Ronnie Silk in car number 16. Doing a great job here tonight. Good run for Emmerling on the outside of the Raceway. But Silk runs him up the hill. Ronnie Silk looking pretty aggressive right now, but here comes the 07 back to the outside of Emmerling. And the 82 of Craig Lutz. What a job he's done.
Emmerling's been able to make that outside lane work. Trouble, Kyle Bonsignor spins off 2. He's down to the inside lane, field rumbling on by, and the caution is out. Just as Justin Bonsignor was headed that direction as a race leader, Kyle was able to get that car rolling once again, but not before the caution came out. Our 5th caution of the night on lap 107.
Good job again on that restart by Justin Bonsignor as he launched that car out of turn number 2. Good start. He was on the bottom below the white line there, and that's where he got a good grip and was able to send that thing into 1 and 2, and a good job by Bonsignor to take back the lead, or to maintain the lead. Looks like a couple of cars on the move here.
Here's a look at what happened. Coming off turn 2, looked as though the 5 of Beatty may have gotten into the back of the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor. Tough to tell from that angle, as he went spinning out of his position. He was running inside the top 10 at the time. Well, they're lined up down to the inside, and here comes a strategy play. Pit road is closed, but it seems as though a couple of drivers have indicated an interest to come down pit road, and among them the 79 of John McKennedy, the championship point leader. Kyle Soper, Kyle Bonsignor. Does Doug Kobe come or not? He stays out on track, but John McKennedy is on pit road. This is an important pit stop. The championship race leader on pit road. He's hit his stall, which is just pit stall 23 on the inside of the back straightaway. Coming around to the left side, they'll put tires on that 79 machine, make a big chassis adjustment. Looks like a one-tire change for the 79 of McKennedy. Making an adjustment here on the right front as well.
They're making wholesale adjustments on that car.
And it's going to be a long pit stop for this team. Kyle Bonsignore in the 22. Kyle Soper on pit road. And here's McKennedy now working his way around the inside of turns 3 and 4. And your championship point leader with a long pit stop here on the racetrack. We'll see the pace car go rolling on by. McKennedy knew that this was going to be the biggest challenge he would have in his championship bid as he leads the way. He had a good run here in the June race, came home 4th. But this racetrack has not always been his best, not his style of racing. But he's good at long runs, and he thought that that could work to his advantage. So it's not a surprise to see McKennedy come in first because he likes long run setups, and this will probably set him up for the finish unless he decides to come back in and get that one extra tire.
Right, he still has a tire left. 112 laps down as we go green. Bonsignore with a good start, but here comes Emmerling to the outside.
Half a car behind in the outside lane is Emmerling in the 07. But Ronnie Silk is in the middle of this. Craig Lutz is in the middle of this. They are 2 by 2 all the way through the top 10. Bonsignore just can't get off turn number 2, and Emmerling continues to work the outside groove.
Emmerling's car starting to really come in on the top of the raceway, and he's getting really big runs out of the corners.
Silk now is there, though. He draws to the inside of Emmerling.
Bonsignore now up to the high side of the raceway.
Trying to protect the spot. He gets away with the race lead now, a car length ahead. Outside groove, Emmerling noses out in front of Ronnie Silk. Silk rallies back to the bottom and digs in that number 16.
Ronnie Silk, car number 16, has worked his way to the top 3 here. The Phil Moran wrenched number 16 to the inside of Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling, another good run out of turn number 4. Craig Lutz settles into the 4th spot. Eric Goodale to 5th.
And Goodale's going to take a look to the inside of Craig Lutz. Continues to put the left side tires underneath the white line to get that car to turn. Runs a little bit lower on entry than anybody else on track as he tries to make that racetrack just a little bit wider. Emmerling with a look off turn 4 on the 51 of Bonsignore, but nothing doing there in the battle for the race lead.
Bonsignore's car has been very neutral here. Consistent each lap. We're 122 in.
Emmerling's starting to get a little bit more aggressive, though.
Yeah, you can see he's trying the bottom now, too. Where he's been up top the whole time, his exit is starting to come on the bottom of the raceway as Bonsignore starts to move up.
He's starting to search around a little bit, enter in high, and then watch him duck the car lower than Bonsignore off the turn to see if he can get that bumper to the inside and create a lane underneath the race leader of Bonsignore.
And as they ran single file for the majority of the early part of this event, they ran around the bottom of the raceway. So there's going to be more rubber down there now, so perhaps Emmerling will be able to make the pass and get some grip on the bottom.
They work around Melissa Fifield off turn number 4. That allows Bonsignore to open up about a car length and a half, which is more than he's had over the past 10 laps or so.
Yeah, Emmerling is right there in car number 07.
So is Emmerling's car coming to life, or is Justin Bonsignore's car starting to back off? About 50 laps ago, we were talking about the lap times being around 12:1, 12:0. The pace has gotten faster. They're down to the 11/8 now. They're getting up on the wheel, getting a little bit more aggressive as we get past the halfway point in tonight's race.
They're simply doing this because they know they have an opportunity to pit. So they're all going to get, as Joe said earlier before the race even started, would they get more aggressive in the middle of the race, and that's exactly what they're doing.
The intensity starting to ratchet up, but still a long, long way to go in this one. A couple of drivers have already made their plan. The 79 of John McKennedy, Soper, and Bonsignor, Kyle Bonsignor, were on pit road. Those cars still shown on the lead lap. Kyle Bonsignor has raced up to 12th with new tires. Kyle Soper has raced up to 13th. And John McKennedy is mired deep in the pack. He's running 18th right now, your championship point leader.
And your leaders aren't far behind him. They're less than half a track behind him.
And that's the danger of pitting early on a quarter-mile racetrack. With a lot of cars on the lead lap, that long line puts you at the tail end, and very, very quickly can cars catch up to you that way.
Well, right in front of your leaders, Gary McDonald and Walter Sutcliffe having their own race.
Caution flag is out. We've got a car around the wrong direction here in turn number 1. And it's going to be Matt Brody again for the second time tonight in the number 96.
Didn't see how that happened.
So Brody trying to get that car rolling once again. And that's a sigh of relief for John McKennedy. He wasn't in imminent danger of going a lap down, but had that continued to go for a little while, McKennedy might have had his hands full with Bonsignor and the rest of them closing in quickly.
Yeah, McKennedy not making up much ground since pitting, which is surprising as you see the 22 car of Kyle Bonsignor and the 15 car of Kyle Soper making their way towards the top 10.
So the caution flag out here, the 6th of the evening, lap 136 in the record book, and you see more activity down along pit road where teams will have the opportunity to come down pit road, and it seems as though you might see some of the leaders, among them Ronnie Silk could be in for service. Justin Bonsignor and his team could be in for service. And here they all come.
McKennedy obviously not happy with the adjustments made, so he'll also head to pit road.
Really nothing to lose for McKennedy at this point. He was already at the tail end of the lead lap cars. You come down, get some service, and head back out.
If anything, he might gain a spot or two.
Pit road is still closed at the moment. The cars are allowed to line up to the inside, and when they roll through turn 4, they are released by the NASCAR officials to come down pit road. And Patrick Emmerling will step out of line from the second spot, and Emmerling is going to come down pit road. McKennedy also back down pit road another time. He'll be one of the first cars to hit his pit stall. There is Patrick Emmerling. He'll go all the way around turns 3 and 4 on the bottom onto the front stretch pits, where he will have the second pit stall towards pit exit. So Emmerling is in lap 138, and they'll come around and look like it put a right rear tire on the 07.
Most of his good runs here recently, he's had a long run car. Why not pit now? If the other teams are going to pit later, he can find himself out front and be able to hold them off. McKennedy also making his way out.
So Patrick Emmerling, a 2-tire change, changes both rear tires on the pit stop and rejoins here at the tail end of the field. So Emmerling, the first among the top 5 to come down pit road. And we'll see how that strategy comes out here. He's on and off pit road on lap 140.
I believe the 07 went through the stop sign as it was lit. That's why they have him stopped on the backstretch.
He got ahead of the race leader. I think it was green when he went through, because he had that pit stall at the front, so it was quick for him to be able to get out. But in doing so on the short racetrack, taking the short trip around to the infield, he got ahead of the pace car. And so they will just allow him to go to the tail end of the field. By the scoring, he was shown as the race leader by the shortcut through the infield. But they'll line him up appropriately where he needs to be on track as the first car off pit road. So he lines up where he needs to be, directly ahead of John McKennedy, a little deeper in the field, and that'll shake out about the 13th, 14th position for Patrick Emmerling when they get to turn him loose back again. Walt Sutcliffe is going to be the beneficiary. He will get his lap back as we work this caution.
So what are your thoughts so far with the pits?
I expected to see more cars come down pit road under these cautions, but this race has had a very short run feel to it. And when you've got that, if you wait too late to the end to pit, well, now all of a sudden you got a problem because you can't actually gain as many positions on the racetrack by that pit stop. So you've got to be a little careful here if you're trying to play that late race good tire strategy. If your car's fast, you need green flag laps to be able to take advantage of that, and you need long green flag laps. And 5-lap runs may be a little tricky to make that work. Green flag is out once again. Justin Bonsignore to the bottom of the new challenger in the form of Ronnie Silk, who goes high. Bonsignore, though, good getting into turn number 3. He clears the 16.
Here comes the 82 of Craig Lutz to the inside, but Eric Goodale has another idea. As Goodale in the Riverhead Building Supply number 58 heads to the outside for position number 3.
Wheel to wheel for the 3rd spot. Lutz on the bottom, Eric Goodale up top. Right behind them, Doug Kobe is battling with Timmy Salamito. They go side by side for 5th.
Bonsignore with a great restart that time, as Lutz and Goodale continue to battle for the 3rd spot.
Goodale hangs tough in the outside groove, while Lutz runs the bottom lane of the racetrack. They both slide up the racetrack a bit. Goodale is able to take advantage of that as Craig Lutz lost the nose, and Goodale was able to keep his foot to the throttle, right to the floorboard, and he was able to take over the 3rd spot.
Riverhead Raceway, the home of Eric Goodale's first NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win. Seems to have a good car here at lap number 148.
And still on old tires. Only a couple of cars have come down pit road to get new tires. And the 66 car at Timmy Salamito, he's starting to look like he might need them. He's got his hands full in that car. Very loose getting off the turns. Every time he gets back to the accelerator, that car's starting to step out a little bit on him.
And John Beatty Jr. also in car number 5. He and Austin Beers having a great battle.
Austin Beers, who started back in 20th tonight in that 64 car, had raced his way up pretty efficiently here tonight. He's been quiet so far, but not a bad night for a driver who started deep in the field.
I watched him in practice today, and even during his qualifying effort, I said I was impressed with him in practice for a kid who's only been here 2 times. And his father used to run great here as well. So nice job thus far by Austin Beers.
When he's in the middle of a championship chase for the track championship at Evergreen Raceway, which he'll run tomorrow after this event, and a chance to run the title there in that 64 car. Rookie contender has impressed many. He said, you know, I think tonight I've earned the respect among my peers to use that front bumper a little bit on a short track if I need to. And I think he's right with that.
Well, he hasn't used it just yet, but if he needs it, he's got one. So we'll see what happens, but he's done a great job thus far.
Right behind Timmy Salamito in the 66. And John Beatty, who's one of the local drivers, having a solid run in that 5 car. Was involved in an incident earlier. He's up to 8th.
Justin Bonsignore back up front now has a mirror full of Ron Silk. Ronnie Silk starting to put some pressure on Bonsignore, but Bonsignore that time by had a great run out of turn number 2 and was able to pull away slightly.
It's hard to believe 22 attempts Ronnie Silk has not won at this racetrack, and this win tonight would mean a lot to him as he was able to deliver that first Whelen Modified Tour Championship to Eddie Partridge back in 2011 when he drove for him in the number 6 car. This race in honor of Eddie Partridge, the Eddie Partridge 256, the 6 standing for the race car number that Partridge ran for many, many years on the tour.
And he always ran the 12. And then at New Hampshire, he asked Ronnie Silk to drive the 6 car and put him out in the 6. And the first time Ronnie Silk drove for Eddie Partridge, they won. And away they went. The following year, they won the championship.
That was in 2011. He went and won an owner's championship in 2017 with Ryan Preece behind the wheel. And now Ronnie Silk in the 2nd position, hunting down Justin Bonsignore, as everybody has done all night long. But Silk's got to look, because in the rear view mirror, Eric Goodale is right there in 3rd, and his car continues to get better here the longer we go.
Yeah, Goodale, they have, as you said earlier, they weren't happy, but they're pretty happy right now, I would think, as Eric Goodale has been very impressive thus far in the GAF Roofing number 58.
4th in points this season, 27 points out He is still in the hunt for the championship, but he's got to have a good night tonight, and he probably needs a couple of those guys ahead of him to have some bad luck so he can take advantage of it in the standings.
He's starting to search on Ronnie Silk. He's looking to the bottom, looking to the top for that second spot. He's got a good car on the bottom of the Raceway right now.
Inside of 90 laps to go, that no pit strategy starting to look a lot better here tonight.
Especially now that they're strung out again. Cautions may be few and far between, but if you get one relatively soon, don't be shocked if a bunch of drivers come to pit road. As you can see what those two tires have done for Patrick Emmerling in car 07.
Here's Goodale working underneath, see if he can find some racing room. All the way to the bottom. All four tires underneath that white line in turns 1 and 2 that time.
Trying to search for some grip. Silk is good on the bottom as well.
Lap traffic up ahead. Bonsignor works behind Walt Sutcliffe, the race leader. Silk not quite able to close in. Bonsignor goes to the outside lane, but has to backpedal a little bit. Here comes Silk now to the rear bumper of the race leader.
And your top three cars have broken away from fourth place. Craig Lutz, Doug Coby, but look who's back to sixth.
And that would be the 07 of Patrick Emmerling with those brand new 2 rear tires. What a charge through the field. Emmerling now battling for 5th. Doug Coby is there, and Emmerling is closed in quickly.
Goodale to the inside of Ronnie Silk. Eric Goodale rides him up the hill a little bit, but backs off. Has to not wreck the 16 car. Eric Goodale's there.
Goodale muscles his way to the inside lane of the racetrack and is able to get the job done. Moves into 2nd. Silk back to 3rd, directly ahead of Craig Lutz. That battle we were talking about, Patrick Emmerling was able to get by Doug Coby and move into 5th. So Emmerling's charge continues. He's now 2.5 seconds behind the race leader, Justin Bonsignor.
His last lap was about the same time as Bonsignor's, in the 11.8 second range. He went in 11.84. Bonsignor went in 11.86.
And Emmerling has already closed the gap into the back bumper of Craig Lutz.
Yeah, he is coming in car 07. Bonsignor has a nice gap between himself and Eric Goodale. 180 laps down.
2:56, the goal here tonight. Emmerling to the back bumper of Craig Lutz. Works a little bit high, tries to cross him up off turn number 4. Finds a lane to the inside, and Emmerling goes right on by. Lutz had nothing for him with those new tires.
Emmerling looks real good, and right now they can't fight him.
Trouble turn 2. John Beatty Jr. goes around and spins. He's able to get that car rolling once again. Spinning out of a top 10 running position in the 5 car. The caution is out for the 7th time tonight.
Now what? 182 laps down. You see what new tires did for Emmerling as he has marched his way back through this field. Do they pit? You know the guys, I don't know about the leaders, but I would say from Craig Lutz on back, they just might pit.
It's a tough decision for all the guys out at front to see whether or not it's worth the gamble. Do you come down pit road? There's still quite a few cars that are on the lead lap. Looks like there's going to be 15 cars on the lead lap. That's a lot of drivers to have to race through. Pit road is still closed, and it looks like we'll have a couple of takers. Looks like Ronnie Silk may pull up to the bottom.
Looks like Coby's going to go. Salamito, Beers, the 15 car, Soper back, 79 and McKennedy going back.
And that's going to give more track position to Patrick Emmerling. And will tires or track position be what makes the difference here tonight? There you see Justin Bonsignor, the 51. His car down here on the bottom, working the caution. 81 of Chris Turbush. directly in front on that bottom lane. And everybody lined up on the bottom. Pit crews set and ready on pit road. Could be a race deciding pit stop.
And this is what we were waiting for. You're going to have quite a few teams coming to pit road.
They're all going to work around the 81 of Chris Turbush here under the caution flag, get the race leaders out in front and clear of the lapped car. Pit road is still closed for the moment while they allow the lineup to get sorted out properly. Give everybody the opportunity to come down pit road with a clean entrance.
Looks like 10 cars will head to pit road.
So a couple of drivers that have already come down pit road include the 07 of Patrick Emmerling, the 79 of John McKennedy, and the 15 of Kyle Soper. What will happen here? Pit road is open. They release the cars and everybody up the front is coming in. Justin Bonsignor will have the pit stall on the front straightaway. He will come all the way around, but on the backstretch, the second place car, the 58 machine of Eric Goodale, is in, and they're doing tires on his machine. Bonsignor all the way around the inside of turns 3 and 4. Both he and Ronnie Silk are pitted here on the front straightaway. Silk will slide into the third pit stall. Justin Bonsignor into the first pit stall. They'll go around. It'll be a 2-tire rear tire stop for Justin Bonsignor.
Bonsignor's crew, one of the better ones on the tour here. They will try and get their driver out first, but Doug Kobe, well, they got to stop. Now they're green.
So a tight race off of pit lane between Justin Bonsignor and Doug Kobe. Third off pit road is the 16 of Ronnie Silk, Eric Goodale, and Austin Beers with a quick pit stop as well. We'll see how it shakes out, whether it was Kobe or Justin Bonsignor that they will score as the first car off pit road, but a couple of cars stayed out, and they will be the race leaders, and that is among Patrick Emmerling, Kyle Bonsignor, and Dave Zapienza also stayed out as he runs third on the racetrack. We'll let NASCAR sort out the scoring of this one. We're going to look at how they came down pit road and what it was like as they exited. The 70 York of Doug Kobe rolling off of pit road, and the Bonsignor exited his pit stall. That stop sign directly out in front, and we'll see how they score it when we get back under the green flag. It was close, inches apart when they came off of pit road.
Yeah, that was really, really close. I'm glad we don't have to make that decision.
So the two cars run side by side for now on track until told who should be in front of the other, as they contest that position and they review who won the race off of pit road, and that could make a huge difference in how this race plays out tonight.
Now you wonder, does Emmerling have enough to hold him off?
The tires will be 48 laps older for Patrick Emmerling. You see it again, how tight it was as they were exiting pit road between Justin Bonsignor and Doug Kobe. Now here's what's at stake. Patrick Emmerling's the race leader. Kyle Bonsignor is going to be second. And then you've got the 36 machine of Dave Zapienza, who's on track. He's the third place machine. Now, if you're fourth, you're starting on the outside. If you're fifth, you're starting on the inside. And we'll see how that plays out and which they prefer. We've seen the outside lane be pretty efficient on starts tonight, but for Justin Bonsignor, he is like the bottom all night long.
They are checking now as to who made their way out of the pit road first. But I'll tell you, as our first set of wholesale pit changes, nice job by all the crews. Nice job by the drivers getting on and off pit road. It was a big fear for a lot of people. but they did an excellent job in getting those cars in and out of the pits.
And we should really talk about the design of the pit lane here, because the pit lane obviously small here at a very quarter-mile racetrack, but they looked at it, measured the size of the pit boxes, and they're very similar to tracks like Thompson or when we raced at Stafford, which are tight pit roads, believe it or not. And these pit boxes are about the same size to what you have at those racetracks.
Yeah, they're the same size as Thompson, but they went 30, I believe it's 34 feet off the inside wall. So you can get 2 cars by and have a 3rd car along the wall.
With the pit box being 18 feet wide and 22 feet long on the infield. So that plan worked out. They plotted this out in June when we were here and made it happen here tonight. So pit stops lived up to the billing, added the drama, and now
we get to see what it does.
We get to see how it plays out here, and we'll see whether or not Justin Bonsignor or Doug Coby was the first call off pit road. And it seems as though it was Justin Bonsignor, as he was able to drive ahead of Coby. He'll start on the outside when we get back under the green flag. They'll get the 1 to go signal when they come back to the line this time through. Now, Kyle Soper had stayed out on the track, but he came down pit road, and so he will be one of the last cars on the lead lap, shown right now in the 14th position. Lights are out atop the pace vehicle. We're about set to turn them loose one more time. 196 laps will go up on the scoreboard. When they get the green flag, there'll be 60 laps to go. And Patrick Emmerling, with a pit strategy move, is in the lead of the Eddie Partridge 256 alongside Kyle Bonsignor on the outside as we go to green.
Emmerling ran up front the majority of this event, pitted, and then made his way from the back. Now he's your race leader, but here comes the 22 of Bonsignor.
The same move that Emmerling was making all night long. Kyle Bonsignor now goes to the outside lane and tries to make that groove work for him. Emmerling runs him up the racetrack, but it costs him more as Kyle Bonsignor surges to the race lead.
Emmerling trying to come back on the bottom, but Bonsignor with a great run to come to the race lead.
Talking about drivers that have not been happy with their race car, the team told me earlier today we are not happy. The 22 of Kyle Bonsignor, he was in a spin not too long ago, brought out one of the cautions. Now he's the race leader inside of 57 laps to go. Kyle Bonsignor out in front. Deeper in the field, Eric Goodale on the hunt. He's working underneath the 70 York of Doug Coby. Continues to go lower than anybody else on the track is the 58 of Goodale.
Goodale with 2 new tires, Coby with 2 new tires. Coby had started to fade before we pitted here. I don't know if Coby has enough to get back to the front, but we'll see soon enough as Bonsignor now starts to look to the inside of Sapienza.
Bonsignor trying to gather back. The great run that he's had in dominating fashion all night tonight. He runs in the 4th spot as he goes on the attack against Dave Sapienza, who through strategy finds himself inside the top 3.
And Sap looks good here. He's not holding them up. He's doing a nice job in car number 36 as Bonsignor Kyle now feels the heat from the 07 of Patrick Emmerling.
And they are cousins, Kyle and Justin Bonsignor. As Bonsignor, the 51, looks in the rearview mirror, he's got Ronnie Silk right there in the middle of this. But Dave Sapienza looking for his first top 10, his first top 5 of the 2022 season. Rides in 3rd in that number 36.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for Sap in car number 36. Having a nice run so far here tonight. So he goes up the raceway and opens the door for Bonsignor. Bonsignor now to the inside in car number 51. Justin Bonsignor tries to march his way back to the front of this field.
Can't quite complete the pass yet over Dave Sapienza. Sapienza keeps the nose to the outside lane, still to the outside, but finally Justin Bonsignor clears for 3rd. Now Ronnie Silk, he'll put a nose to the inside of Dave Sapienza.
The 51 car is squaring up in the corners. If you can see it, where all race long he was on the bottom of the raceway. Oh, for the lead, here comes Emmerling. Emmerling to the inside of Kyle Bonsignor. As they approach lap traffic, Emmerling's going to have to send it in there. He used him up. Emmerling to the lead.
Bonsignor had a limp. That allows Justin Bonsignor in the 51 to sneak on through. He's now into 2nd as they work to the outside of lap traffic.
Patrick Emmerling, your new race leader in car number 07. Justin Bonsignor makes his way to 2nd. Kyle Bonsignor is 3rd.
Patrick Emmerling is a defending race winner of this event. Has had a great run here at the Riverhead Raceway over the past 4 races. He's been inside the top contenders each of those finishes, and he looks in the rearview mirror and sees an 8-time Riverhead Raceway winner in the form of Justin Bonsignore.
And Emmerling has run fantastic here tonight in car number 07. We're 213 laps in, and the 51 car seems to be squaring up in the middle of the corner. They can have this thing tight right now. Ryan Stone and the crew may have made it just a little snug, so that when they get to the end of the race, it frees the thing up on the bottom.
Oh, trouble, turn 2. Kyle Bonsignore has gone around in front of the entire field. He spins, no contact made. And it goes in a plume of tire smoke, bringing out the 8th caution of the night. And the second time Kyle Bonsignore has had problems off turn 2.
Yeah, the first time he may have had some contact. I didn't see what happened here. We will see on flow momentarily, I would think. Here comes Justin Bonsignore. Back up to second.
And the roles will be reversed this time around. You'll have Emmerling on the bottom and Justin Bonsignore to the outside lane of the racetrack. Off turn 2, Kyle Bonsignore's car is still pointed in the wrong direction. He has not yet been able to get that car fired. And so they will have to split between the caution vehicle and Emmerling. We go to the bottom. Here's a look at what happened getting down into the turn. A little bit of help from Ronnie Silk as they worked around lap traffic. And that sent Kyle Bonsignore spinning. And Kyle Bonsignore came up and made pretty significant contact to the left rear of Ronnie Silk.
Look at his left front. Left front looks like it's turned out there.
What's more important is whether or not the problem with the 16, you hit that rear end hard enough, did that do any damage to the 16 of the left rear contact that was made? So we'll see if we can follow up on what happened there. The wrecker will come over to try to clear the 22 car of Kyle Bonsignore and get that machine off the racetrack. Left front pointed in the wrong direction. The field is going to be stopped off turn 4.
And this should be quick, as they just need the space to get Bonsignore. Go ahead.
And one more look at it here as Ronnie Silk got into the back of the 22. And then as Kyle Bonsignore went spinning, his car came up the racetrack and made contact with the left rear of Ronnie Silk.
Silk's car seems to be no worse for the wear, just visually. I don't know what he's feeling inside the car, but you would have to think that if he had any kind of rattle or any kind of shake in the rear of the car, that he would be heading to pit road here once we get back underway.
The red flag has been put out onto the racetrack, and this was something that NASCAR told the drivers and crew chiefs during the drivers meeting today, that if there was going to be an extended caution based on the way the racetrack was set up with pit road infield pitting, is that they would put the red flag out to preserve as many green flag racing laps as possible. And with Kyle Bonsignore's car in the middle of the racetrack in turn 2 and an extended period of time for them to get this car off the track, they will go ahead and throw the red flag, clear his car off the track, and then they will go back under yellow flag conditions. So this was something that they had told drivers and owners and crew chiefs during the pre-race drivers meeting, that this would be part of the event today, and all in an effort to be able to provide as many green flag laps here tonight for the fans and spectators at Riverhead Raceway.
Is there anyone left on the raceway that hasn't pitted? I believe they've all pitted. So what you have is what you have at this point. And right now, it looks like Kyle Soper may be headed to pit road again. He's down to the inside of Emmerling.
Man, he's been on and off pit road several times here tonight. Scoring shows him in 6th, but they haven't crossed the latest scoring loop, so we'll allow that to circle back around before that becomes official. His car parked to the inside lane of the racetrack, which they told drivers to pull up to the bottom if they plan to pit, so they can be released quickly down into pit road. A bit of fluid on the racetrack in turn number 2 that they'll broom off quickly before they lift the red flag and get us back underway towards the finish of this one.
Well, they're definitely dicing for position behind your 2 leaders. So Sapienza was able to hang on for a while, but Goodale and Kobe have made their way back to the front.
Looks
Go ahead.
It looks like Kyle Bonsignore's day has come to a conclusion, as they're going to go ahead and pull that car back off to the garage area.
As I was going to say, the battle between Salamito, Lutz, and those cars trying to come through also. So there's a lot of good cars. Beer's also up there with them. A lot of good cars just pitted. This is going to be, we got some time left. It's going to be a good finish.
Still a long way to go, but from a championship standpoint, Justin Bonsignore is going to gain a little bit of ground if the race were to end right now over John McKennedy, as McKennedy has been 11th. And he hasn't really been able to make much hay after he came down pit road there early on. Was one of the first cars to come down pit road, and that was under our 5th caution on lap 112. And those adjustments just haven't paid off for that 79 team.
Yeah, they made a second adjustment. He went back in, and it just doesn't seem to, have clicked in the 79 car. But, you know, John McKennedy, he's one of them guys, if he's got an 11th place car, he'll try and get it to 5th if he can. So it'll be, I can't wait to see what unfolds here in these last laps.
There the 79 of McKennedy as the caution flag comes out with the red flag lifted. Engines come back to life. And the field begins to roll again in turn 4. Now, Kyle Soper's car not rolling as of yet, as the rest of the field gets underway.
He may have gained a lap again.
And now his car begins to roll as he rejoins at the tail end of the field. So the 88 of Roger Turbush looks to be the beneficiary to be able to get back around on the lead lap in car number 88. 3rd in this race a year ago. Has struggled to keep that car on the lead lap here tonight, as it's been a very fast pace in this event. Inside of 38 laps to go when they come across the start-finish line, this time by here under caution, our 8th of the evening.
Don't know what Timmy Salamito was doing, if they're pulling up to pit or if he just pulled ahead. Now he's going to fall back in line.
Getting everybody in line. NASCAR officials working through that after everybody paused there through turns 3 and 4 to make sure that the lineup is correct. And pit road still closed at the moment, with Patrick Emmerling, Justin Bonsignore, Ron Silk, Eric Goodale, and the 7 New York of Doug Kobe are all in the top 5. Couple of cars pulling up to pit, and that will include the 66 of Timmy Salamito, Kyle Soper, Ken Hagee, and they will make their way down pit road to the infield.
These will be adjustments, I believe. I don't believe anyone has tires left.
Pitted along the backstretch pit wall, adjustments being made. Kyle Soper coming back around with his team, continuing to work on that 15 car, and they will again look at the rear end of that machine. Chris Turbush on pit road, John Beatty is on pit road, but more work being done into the rear suspension of the 15 of the Wayne Anderson-owned Kyle Soper car.
Been a rough night for Soper. He started off great running up front, and now he's had some issues and had to work his way back through the field a couple of times, and he'll have to do it again with 220 laps down.
We did get an update from pit road that there's no damage, nothing feels out of place on the 16 car for Ronnie Silk after that contact with Kyle Bonsignore when he went spinning off turn 2. So Silk with the green light feels ready to go from the 3rd spot, and he'll line up right behind Patrick Emmerling. Field will be given the 1 to go signal this time by. There'll be 33 laps to go when they get the green flag. in the Eddie Partridge 256. Emmerling with tires that are 48 laps older than Justin Bonsignore, and these two have been the class of the field all night long. 33 laps to go. Patrick Emmerling and Justin Bonsignore bring the field back around to the green flag.
Green flag out once again. Emmerling runs Bonsignore up the raceway and will come back to the lead.
Bonsignore on the throttle as they dive down into turn number 3, draws right to the back bumper of Emmerling, but not enough to repay the favor. Meanwhile, contact. Kobe, Goodale get together. Ronnie Silk was in the middle of that, and Goodale goes backwards.
Eric Goodale on the outside of Austin Beers. Beers having a great run here tonight. His third time at the facility, and Kobe starts to look to the inside of the 16 car.
It's time to go. The intensity is ratcheted up, and they are up on the wheel. 30 to go. Emmerling out in front, leading Justin Bonsignore, Ronnie Silk, and Doug Kobe.
I'm sure the 51 is not happy with his treatment into turn number 1 by Emmerling. Right now, he's looking to the outside.
Yeah, Bonsignore gets to the 07. Emmerling better hold on because Emmerling sent him deep into turns 1 and 2, and Bonsignore is there.
Starting to look like he's going to set up a crossover move as he sends it in high and drives off on the bottom, but this time he stays outside.
Bonsignore is smart, though. He knows there's a big picture play here. Ronnie Silk is here. Here comes Bonsignore. He'll go to the outside lane. Silk to the bottom.
Bonsignore as they head into turn number 1. Emmerling side by side as they exit turn number 2 and head down the back straightaway. Here comes Justin Bonsignore.
A power move to the outside lane. The two come together off turn 4. But Justin Bonsignore, 25 laps to go, and he jumps back out to the race lead.
Patrick Emmerling settles for second right now. Ronnie Silk is third, and Doug Kobe back to 4th. I don't know how Eric Goodale's running 5th and looking to pass cars. He bounced that thing off the wall here on the front stretch about 4 laps ago. But Goodale still has the 58 coming to the front.
He's got a lot of fight in that number 58 tonight for sure, as does Bonsignore and Emmerling. Justin Bonsignore came in here today. He won practice. Came out here and set the Mayhew Tools Dominator pole. Now rallies back, and inside of 25 laps to go, jumps back out in front of the Eddie Partridge 256. And time is running out for Patrick Emmerling to see if he's got anything left in the tank to go after Justin Bonsignore.
They're about 20 laps away now. It's lap 236 in the books for Bonsignore, and he's starting to pull away.
Bonsignore, who said, "I'm so grateful for what Eddie Partridge did for the Riverhead Raceway, for this Long Island community, saving this racetrack back in 2015 when he took over ownership. How fitting would it be for a Long Island-based driver and Justin Bonsignore to be the one that wins the Eddie Partridge 256? And we are inside of 18 laps to go if he can hold on and do that."
And it would really mean something to Justin to win this event as they continue. They were the ones that came here to help with pit road, to help get it set up, his entire team. They've been a focal point here on Long Island and at Riverhead Raceway, and he would want nothing more than to win this race in the honor of Eddie Partridge.
We talked about it at the top of the broadcast today that Justin Bonsignore had a focus and a fire in his eye that showed a hunger for victory. And tonight he is driven that way. He was clean in his pass of Emmerling. He did it the hard way around the outside groove of the racetrack and went right on by, and now is able to gap him by 2, sometimes 3 car lengths, which is the biggest lead that he has had all night.
And it's odd because Emmerling seems to be able to get in the corner, but then Bonsignore has much more drive on exit.
That's one half of the battle, but deeper in the pack, the 79 of John McKennedy came in as a championship point leader. He's 10th right now, but Kyle Soper is trying to take that spot away. So McKennedy had a slight advantage coming into this race, and if he finishes where he is right now, will end up losing the championship point lead coming out of today. Or at least it'll be close if he doesn't.
Emmerling has caught Bonsignore. So About a car length back now. Bonsignor still probably has something in the tank, but Emmerling's giving it all he's got in car number 07.
Inside of 9 laps to go. Lap traffic ahead. They'll come up on Ken Hagee here in a couple of laps. But you're right, Emmerling has closed right in, and both cars now running the outside lane. Emmerling to use the bumper a little bit on Bonsignor in turn 2. We've got one car smoking, Matt Brody. He's got a tire rub on the left rear. That's the smoke around the racetrack. The race leaders are coming up on him. He gets the black flag as he goes to the bottom, and the leaders at the line with 6 to go.
250 laps down, 6 remain, the final 6 that were added for Eddie Partridge's car number.
Heavy lap traffic directly up ahead. The race leaders running the outside groove. Bonsignor now only 1 car length ahead of Patrick Emmerling.
Emmerling's got something, he better get there now. 252 laps down.
Around Gary McDonald on the back straightaway into turn 3. 3 to go this time.
Good run through 3 and 4 that time by for Patrick Emmerling. Bonsignor able to gap him out of turn number 2. Stretch about another car length advantage, but again, here's the 07 right on him.
A half a mile to go, 2 laps to go. Bonsignor up ahead is Eddie Brunholzl III. Emmerling right there. They'll see the white flag this time. Justin Bonsignor guides that car back into turn number 1. Emmerling closes in, now within a half a car length on the back straightaway. Bonsignor around the outside. Emmerling closes in, tries to give him a shot, but Justin Bonsignor is going to win the Eddie Partridge 256. Emmerling will come home in second, but what a drive by Justin Bonsignor, the entire Ken Massa and Ryan Stone-led team. Bonsignor, the Long Island driver, so fitting that he would win tonight in memory of Eddie Partridge in this 256, as he is victorious tonight in Riverhead.
I would have to say the experiment worked. What a great race. Great job by everyone involved. To get these pits set up, and then a great job by these competitors. What a job by the Whelen Modified Tour here tonight.
So Justin Bonsignor will capture the Sunoco checkered flag and make a victory lap around this racetrack here tonight at the Riverhead Raceway. His 35th career Whelen Modified Tour win, 9th here at Riverhead, as his domination continues, and he takes one more step at trying to rebound from the start of the season that was slow and put himself in the middle of that championship battle once again. Along the back straightaway, revving the engine, saluting all the fans across the racetrack. Grew up here racing in go-karts, racing in modified competition, and now on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour stage has captured victory again. Again, his 35th career win, 9th at this racetrack, and Justin Bonsignor and this entire team, 2 in a row, and momentum on their side.
They've had a great run here the last 6 to 10 races. Done an incredible job. The Ken Massa Motorsports number 51. Bonsignor is not out of this thing yet. He'll gain big time tonight.
The big smile from Justin Bonsignor. Congratulations all the way around. Pit strategy to their advantage. Winning the race off of pit road over Doug Coby gave them the spot they needed on the racetrack. And Bonsignor, who led the first half of the race virtually unchallenged with Patrick Emmerling in the mix, had to be aggressive to get by Patrick Emmerling at the end, and did so on the outside groove of the racetrack with 25 laps to go to take the victory here tonight. Championship poise still have a long way to go. 2 races still left at Thompson and Martinsville to settle the 2022 campaign, but it is tight at the top between John McKennedy, Ronnie Silk, and Justin Bonsignor, and that drama will continue to build as the season rolls on over the next couple of weeks. Here he is, Justin Bonsignor, winner tonight of the Eddie Partridge 256. Let's go down to hear from our winner in Victory Lane.
Yeah!
Literally nothing. I have nothing in the house to get.
Oh, we got a cake.
Oh, hell yeah. Air. No problem. Oh, whoa, whoa. 1, 2. There we go. All right. Out of the car now. I know this one, my friend, is a special one.
This one's going to sit right at the front door tonight. You know, it's a shame that we lost Eddie last year, but what John Elwood, Tom Gatz, and Connie do for this place, and the way they honor him is just, it's unbelievable what they do each and every week, from the race car to tonight's race to last week's race. There's just so much that they do, and I'm so happy that they keep Long Island racing going for all of us and all of the fans. And how about the fans tonight? What a crowd. Pit stops went off really well, it seems. I think John Elwood's on to something here. So just the best car we've had. I think we even could have won it in 200. I've been hearing rumors that I was begging for the pit stop because I couldn't win on the soft tire. And we had a good car right from when we unloaded today. And momentum is a thing. And I was down, I was out. I was not thinking we had a shot to end this season. And now we've racked off 2 wins in a row. Momentum is a big part of the sport, and unbelievable. Just can't thank Ryan Stone for everything he did, the pit crew for having a nice, good, safe pit stop, got us out first off a pit road. Ken and Janine Massa, M3 Technologies, everything they've done since 2009 for me. Mark and Marie Landrin, Phoenix Communications, Clearcom IT Solutions, Robert Yates Engines, Fury Race Cars, all our product sponsors, all my crew guys, everybody that went into putting this deal together, Flo, NASCAR, the track, you and your nice little outfit here. Just a great night. Patrick kind of owed me one from Thompson. I was expecting it on the start, but I just didn't give up. I knew I had a better car at some points. I knew I could roll the top on him, and I think we squared up the debt, and then he let me around the top cleanly. So it's always a pleasure racing Pat, and another good night.
Now, indeed, were you shocked? He had 48 lap tires. He had 48 more laps on his tires than you did. Were you shocked at the fight he gave you?
Not really. It was a good amount of caution laps during that stretch. And the tires don't really fall off till, you got to have an 80, 90 lap tire advantage typically with these tires. So I knew he was going to be really good. And our car with the rear tires naturally was tighter. So, he still hung in there to the end with us. I was hoping I could drive away, but clear by half, clear by one the last 20 laps is always fun for the fans.
I could say this, of the 70 career starts for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here, you're the first winner that's going to take home a cake, too.
Yeah, I had heard there was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. Hopefully it's good. But just want to thank everybody again, and I really want to get to Mike Uninsko's record before it's all said and done, and we're one closer. 11 from Uninsko, now 9 for Bonsignor. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Bonsignor! Enjoying the spoils of victory here.
They'll roll the cake in, and Justin Bonsignor, congratulations from John Elwood, the entire crew here at Riverhead Raceway, as he wins tonight in the Eddie Partridge 256. Lived up to the billing. That 6 New York that has become synonymous with the Partridge family. The celebratory cake here tonight at Riverhead. I don't know if those pit stops are going to be as fast as they were tonight once they finish that cake, I'll tell you that. What a night, and so fitting that a Long Island-based driver wins in honor of Eddie Partridge, a driver who grew up here at this racetrack and really cut his teeth and has become one of the great NASCAR champions now, not only here at this racetrack, but in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and is writing history in his own right and a very storied career with a lot left to go for Justin Bonsignor. Let's hear from our second place finisher.
All right, here with Patrick Emmerling. Boy, you gave it the old college try with a 48-lap older tires than Bonsignor. Just didn't hold them off, was there?
Yeah, the cautions just didn't fall in our favor there. You know, it sucks. You know, we are disappointed with a second, and I guess that's a good thing. But yeah, I got to give it up to the 07 team, and did an awesome job. We had the best race car out there, and we just lacked a little drive off. We just had too many laps, just a little bit too many laps, and the cautions just didn't fall our way, and we kind of got stuck out there when everyone pitted. We were still really good, but you know, I could have ran the 51 a little bit rougher, but I guess we're proud of running them clean there and running them with respect, and yeah, we'll look forward to the next time here.
Now you're going to take a rest tomorrow because you did Bristol last night, Riverhead tonight. You're resting tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we had 2 hours of sleep there, so long weekend for us, and you know, we struggled a little bit at Bristol yesterday, and you know, we had a strong run here tonight, but you know, just you know, I wish there was a little bit more I would have done there, but you know, we'll get them next time.
That's not your style, indeed. Patrick Emmerling, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll go on over here to our third place finisher as we progress here. Ronnie Silk, I know this one was one you probably wanted more than the 21 previous.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been nice. I mean, you want to win them all, but it would have been cool to win one for Eddie there. All in all, great job by my guys. Can't thank my entire team enough, and keep knocking on the door. We'll get there sooner or later.
Ronnie Silk, third place finisher here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, at Riverhead Raceway.
Well, Justin Bonsignor, 9 times the winner here at Riverhead Raceway. 35 career victories. He was hungry, he went after it, and he got the job done here tonight in the Eddie Partridge 256. We came into this with a brand new pit road and a brand new layout, a whole new strategy, and it lived up to the billing. And a multi-time track champion, a multi-time Whelen Modified Tour champion, Justin Bonsignor, and that team had the strategy figured out just right. He's victorious tonight here at Riverhead Raceway and takes a big step towards another Whelen Modified Tour championship.